I'd like to call to order the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education open agenda meeting for April 23, 2020, being held online, live streamed. Mrs. Saradaki, will you please call the roll?
You're on mute.
Mrs. Saradaki?
She's on mute.
Oh, okay. Mrs. Bauer?
Here.
Mrs. Boroff?
Here.
Mrs. Brody?
Here.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Here.
Mrs. Suriani?
Here.
Mrs. Williams?
Here.
Mrs. Winkler?
Here.
Mr. Murray?
Here.
Dr. Kulikowski? Here. Quorum is present. Thank you, Mrs. Saradaki. Will you all please join me in a salute to the flag? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands
Stands
one
nation,
nation
under
under God,
indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Dr. Carol Choi. As you may recall, she was our superintendent of schools for 13 years. She had retired in 2006 and gave herself to this district for the children so freely and so dedicated. So please, let's have a moment of silence for Dr. Carol Choi as we lost her recently. Thank you, everyone.
Karen, can I add to that?
Oh, by all means, go right ahead.
So certainly Carol was very important and made a huge impact in the district, but beyond that also in the educational community. And a group of women superintendents who worked with Carol came together and wanted to put a scholarship together for a graduating senior this year who will pursue a degree in education. So if I could just read the scholarship details. In honor of Dr. Choi, a scholarship has been created called the Dr. Choi Memorial Scholarship. It will be granted to a Scotch Plains Fanwood High School graduate pursuing education. This beautiful idea came to us from Janice Dime, a retired former colleague of Dr. Choi, along with a group of retired superintendents she has been in touch with. They knew how much Dr. Choi loved this district and the profound effect she had on education. If you'd like to contribute to this scholarship, you may do so by making checks payable to the SPF Scholarship Foundation, noting in the memo that it's for Dr. Carol Choi Memorial Scholarship. And there is a fairly fast turnaround because the scholarship committee is working on that, but we will post the details. I will email the details of this scholarship out to all of you and to our staff.
I just wanted to add, as I recall, this is Nancy Bauer. As I recall, she was also the state superintendent of the year here in New Jersey.
Yes, she was.
Yes, she was. Yeah. Thank you for that, Nancy, and thank you, Dr. Mast.
Can I make one comment on that, please?
Sure.
There also is a link to a PayPal on the Scotch Plains Fanwood Scholarship Foundation website that's been put up today to also make donations through PayPal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brody.
And the deadline date is May 7th.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mast. Okay, moving on, I'd like to do my executive session report. In executive session earlier, prior to this meeting, we spoke about the personnel agenda, the legal status report, and a special education update by Nathaniel Simon and Carolyn Chaldry. We have an addition to the agenda added today, 1S, an out-of-district placement. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure that the right of the public have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Board of Education offices located at 512 Cedar Street, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Such notice was provided in written notice forwarded to the Star Ledger, the Times, the Township Clerk of Scotch Plains, and the Borough Clerk of Fanwood in the revised annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings adopted on August 29th, 2019. Tonight, we will have an instructional update on the PTA Reflections Contest winner. So each year, the PTA Reflections program offers the opportunity for students in pre-K through grade 12 to create original artworks in response to student-selected theme. The established national PTA program is designed to enhance the quality in our school arts education by providing additional opportunities for recognition and access to the arts, which boosts students' confidence and success in the arts and in life. Each year, over 300,000 students submit work. This year's theme was Look Within, and we're proud to recognize 4 Scotch Plains Fanwood students that were chosen out of the 300,000 student submissions. Typically, we'd be able to recognize these amazing students in person. However, this year, due to the social distancing guidelines, we've invited them and their families to watch this live stream, and we hope they're watching now. So I have a resolution to read. And this is for the PTA Reflections Program's winners. Whereas the PTA Reflections Program is a nationally acclaimed student recognition program established by the National PTA designed to encourage students in grades 12, K through 12 to explore their talents and express themselves artistically by creating works of art. And whereas this year's theme, Look Within, whereby students in kindergarten through grade 12 have submitted their interpretation of this theme in 6 artistic areas, including dance choreography, film production, literature, music composition, photography, and visual arts. And whereas the Scotch Plains Fanwood Parent-Teacher Association, under the leadership of the PTA Council President Regina Gannon, continues to enthusiastically participate in the National PTA Reflections Program. And whereas this year we had 4 Scotch Plains Fanwood students create works of entries that received recognition at the state level. And the following 2 students actually received the state level recognition. One was for honorable mention. Leah Gennaro, grade 5, Terrell Middle School, received honorable mention award from the state PTA for her literacy composition entitled Season of Change. The award of excellence went to Bella Rose Lynn, a 4th grade student at McGinn Elementary School. She received an award of excellence from the state PTA for her dance choreography entry entitled Finding Yourself. This is the 2nd time Bella Rose has been recognized for her work. The following 2 students won outstanding interpretation at the state level and are now moving to the national level. Riley Jean Lynn, a 4th grade student at McGinn Elementary School, received an outstanding interpretation from the state PTA for her dance choreography entitled The Cave. And Emily Smith, a first grade student at the J.A. Coles Elementary, received an outstanding interpretation for the state PTA for her visual arts entry entitled Spirit. Whereas we are proud of all the students participating in the 2019-2020 PTA Reflections program. It is an honor to have creative works of 4 students receive recognition at the state level from over 250 entries from all the different local units across our state. Finally, we are proud to have 2 additional students' creative entries win at the state level and will now compete at the national level. We offer our best wishes to all of the students. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education extends its sincere congratulations to the 4 students and extends best wishes for their continued success. Congratulations.
I'll second that. Winkler.
Thank you, Amy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Okay, April 30th, we will have a budget public hearing and final adoption of the 2020-2021 budget. And the public hearing on the 2020-2021 school budget with board comments regarding the budget and public comments. Mrs. Sarah Jackie, for our next visit, we're going to adopt the budget, or are we reading this evening?
Next visit.
Thank you. Okay, and you can see for the next visit, the adoption of the budget, a motion here with the updated numbers here. And at this time, we're going to open up for public comment. So if you would like to make a public comment, please call 908-913-0709. And in accordance with the Scotch Plains Fanwood Public Schools Bylaws 0164-0165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments. Maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing the superintendent items, business functions, and other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. Again, if you would like to make a public comment, please call 908-913-0709. When calling, please remember that board members cannot respond regarding concerns of individual students or staff members. If you do have any of these matters, they should be addressed by the superintendent. Robin, do we have any calls coming in?
Hi, Dr. Kulikowski. There are no calls at this time.
Okay, we will have another opportunity for the public to call in. So if you do decide that you want to call in, please call the number. Robin will take your call and have that ready for us. So being that there are no calls coming in, I'd like to proceed in the agenda to the committee reports. Are there any committee reports?
Yes, I have one. It's Deb.
Hi, Deb, go ahead.
Okay. So I have a community relations report. Let me find it. Okay. We met on the 21st and we had a lot of things to discuss, obviously, but we were made aware that Dr. Mass has been in communication with other districts learning about their contingency plans. And we as a committee, we understand that there are a lot of unknowns going on and decisions are being made as new information is available. I want to emphasize that our first priority is the health and safety of our staff, students, and the SPF committee, and all decisions are based on that. At-home learning is going well. The staff and administration is adapting as we progress, and we are discovering new resources and new technologies in remote learning. The staff is receiving feedback with each phase and extension of staying home. And the staff has been awesome by being extremely flexible with the changes and adaptations that they've have to be making to keep the students involved and engaged. Contingency plans are being discussed on the administrative level in case a school is closed past May 15th. Shortly, the administration will be sending out a survey to parents regarding any additional needs of students and parents. They want to learn from the experience for this situation and any other circumstances that might come up. Maintenance is continuing the deep cleaning of all the classrooms on the inside of the buildings, and the outside grounds are being taken care of as well at this point. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you, Ms. Brody. Any questions or comments for Deb? Seeing none. Thank you, Deb.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else have a committee report?
I have a curriculum committee report.
Okay, Ms. Soriani, proceed.
Okay. Just to expand on what Ms. Brody said, the committee met on Tuesday and had a very extensive update on the at-home learning at each level of education. So Dr. Slocum of McGinn gave us an elementary education update. So talked about how the administrators and teachers have been planning for at-home learning since March 11th. The first effort involved bringing teachers up to speed with all of the technology, some of whom this Google Classroom technology was new to. More advanced teachers were mentor teachers who taught others who needed assistance to get online. Dr. Slocum highlighted the support and collaboration among all the administrators and teachers in helping each other with the online instruction. She talked about how at first, when we were supposed to be out for 2 weeks, the plan was for modular learning involving packets, and the students completed learning logs. After those 2 weeks, the school switched to a Google Classroom format where teachers would post lesson plans, and students still kept track of their work on their learning log templates. Teachers would then started creating video lessons that they would post in their Google Classrooms. And this was true for general and special education, and were able to hold Google meetings and class meetups with their students on the Google platform. Then after spring break, it became a little bit even more advanced, and the elementary schools switched more completely to the Google Classroom platform, where assignments were then and now remain turned in directly through Google Classroom on Google Docs. And the learning logs have been phased out. Dr. Slocum talked about the elementary principals soliciting feedback from families on how the at-home learning is working. And some feedback that she talked about across the board was that parents expressed that it was difficult for them to balance their own work at home responsibilities with having to help their children with the at-home learning instruction. And the administrators are stressing to everybody, flexibility during this time, that, parents can help their kids get the work done, whatever they can get done, and in whatever time frame they can get it done, but just that they understand that flexibility is required during this time period. Dr. Slocum also talked about how the administrators are evaluating elementary report cards and modifying the indicators to be in line with the at-home learning instruction, and that this is still a work in progress. And also talked about how students who have needed more support have been able to be part of small Google group instruction. Then Dr. Holloway talked as a representative of the middle school level. He talked about how the middle and high schools also have middle and high school have been in collaboration with the at-home learning to have consistent delivery. He also talked about how from March 16th for the initial 2 weeks, there was modular learning, then transitioned to a single session day where the students were in there having a live schedule with 9 20-minute periods, and lunch being the last period. He talked about the day still starting with morning announcements, trying to connect the kids as a community. And in the afternoons, teachers all hold a 1-hour office hours where students can pose questions and receive support for the lessons. During courses, teachers either have the option of going on Google Meets and live chatting with the students, or posting instructional videos, or just posting assignments in Google Classroom. Dr. Holloway mentioned that the semester, the marking period was extended to allow for more student assignments, and talked also about how the transition to the third semester of foreign language for the 5th graders had taken place virtually. He also mentioned that math explorations, which is a very interactive in-person experience, has not been occurring because the format was really not translatable for at-home learning. He also mentioned that the ESS, which is a counseling program at the middle school, continued Effective School Solutions online to support students' mental health, and that counselors and social workers are also providing support to students who need it and to parents who need help managing the online learning. And one additional thing he mentioned were that classroom aides have also been trained on the Google Classroom platform and are still assisting in their assigned classrooms, I'm sorry. Then Dr. Heisey provided a high school update. He talked about that he is part of a Union County principals group. So they have all been sharing ideas on how to handle certain things at the high school level, such as grading, graduation, end of year ceremonies, and stuff like that. There are a lot of similarities to the middle school in terms of classes are occurring in a single session day, but at the high school, they moved forward with the block scheduling, so students have no more than 4 classes in one day. He also talked about the mental health of students and their wellness being of great importance. He talked about the teachers being very much focused on seeing their students in the Google chats, and that if they don't see the students turning in their work or connecting with them on the Google platform, that they follow up with an administrator or a counselor who then follows up with the family. And at times, a school resource officer has even followed up with some of the more vulnerable students. He talked about working on developing an online survey for students just to check in on their mental wellness during this quarantine period. In terms of the end of year activities at the high school, he talked about having ongoing meetings with PTA leaders and student leaders, including the valedictorian and salutatorian. And they're still throwing around various ideas for end of year activities, including graduation, senior awards. He talked about, unfortunately, project graduation has already been canceled, but the group is considering the practicalities of various plans, such as if they were to go forward with some type of graduation virtually, how would they get caps and gowns to students? They're considering various online platforms, but those online platforms are limited in the number of virtual attendees. So they're still thinking of what the options are and exploring their options, and we will keep everyone posted on any decisions. He also talked about just how the staff are doing. Actually, all the administrators talked about how the staff are doing, and that the staff are very engaged in virtual staff meetings, but they were still concerned about the morale of all of the staff. Staff miss teaching, they miss their classrooms, and they're also being asked to teach in a way that they have never taught before, and also while being at home with their own families and their own responsibilities of perhaps, helping with their own children's education. So just to be cognizant of the staff morale as well as the kids. So that was the extensive update on at-home learning. And Dr. Heisey also talked about, as we move forward, hopefully things will advance even more in terms of more interactive learning on the Google platform. Then Science Supervisor Gita Faria gave us a very extensive update on NJSLA 2019 science test scores. She shared in 2018, the 5th, 8th, and 11th graders were given the test as to get a baseline level, but no scores were shared with the district. So 2019 was the first year that these scores were shared. And just to highlight some of the results that she shared with the curriculum committee, The total percent of Scotch Plains Fanwood students in those 3 grades were at a level 3 or 4, which is passing, meeting expectations or higher. And that was above the state scores at all 3 grade levels. In addition, the total percentage of SPF students in the level 1 or 2.
You're fine.
Am I still there? Okay. The total percentage of students in level 1 or 2, which is below and approaching expectations, was below that of the whole state in all 3 grade levels. So we performed better. And the total percentage of SPF students tested who were in level 4 at grade 5 and 8 were identified as an opportunity for growth that perhaps we need to look at bringing those levels a little bit higher. The group also talked about, Ms. Faria talked about, the achievement gaps that are pointed out that exist by race and ethnicity that the district is always committed to looking into further. So we will continue to do that. Some highlights of the science program she also discussed, which were the adoption of the FOSS curriculum for the K through 5 grades, adjusted report cards with the focus on scientific practices, and talking about the offering of more professional development for teachers at that level. For the middle school, she talked about how science instruction has become more integrated, meaning across multiple disciplines, how they are taught together and how multiple disciplines work together. A focus on anchoring phenomena to reach more students, which is really about science in the science of everyday things, and using that to drive instruction. And again, more professional development and performance-based assessments. And some of the same highlights at the high school, a focus on anchoring phenomena in instruction, professional development, performance-based assessments, and talked about additional in-class resources specifically for physics. She also highlighted for the committee next steps in science instruction in our district, which in general involve making science more relevant to more students, which includes being phenomena-based and more equitable and teaching the interconnection, again, of concepts. So something that they plan to do is continue with next generation science standards, professional development, embed NJSLA-like tasks into the curriculum for the elementary level. For the middle school, they're planning summer curriculum work to add a unit of study at each grade level, to continue with departmental goals focused on using anchoring phenomena to drive instruction, and to continue to add performance-based assessments, and some similar work at the high school, including using anchoring phenomena, performance-based assessments, and also talked about, and we approved this, the board previously approved the addition of an environmental science course. And that was the very extensive curriculum committee meeting.
And that was some report.
Yes.
Wow, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Soriani?
I have a question.
Karen?
Hi.
Stephanie, did you mention they were going to do instruction into the summer? What were you saying about the summer?
No, that over the summer, they do curriculum work over the summer.
Oh, work. Okay. I was like, whoa, that'll be a big announcement. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So they're going to work on adding to the curriculum a unit of study at each grade level when they work on the science curriculum over the summer.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that clarification, Ms. Soriani. Anybody else have a question about the curriculum committee report? Okay, any other reports?
I have facilities and finance. We had a combined meeting on Monday.
Okay, Mr. Murray?
So bear with me. There's 12 items that we went through on the agenda. So I'll try to be brief, but thorough at the same time. So the first one is just an update on the School One air conditioning project. So the new roof unit's complete. The only thing missing is the sock, which is scheduled to be completed this week. The second item was Park Middle School masonry project. So I know when we approved this the first time, around. We were not including the first level, level one. There was a bid price of $100,000 to do that. They're looking to give us a reduction in that amount if we move forward with level one completion, which would be $82,670. So there's a request to approve that. I think the bid, if we had to go do this later down the road, it sounds like it would be a lot more expensive than $100,000, especially since they already have all their equipment and scaffolding and everything else on site. So we're recommending we move forward with that. Brunner gym repairs. I think this was discussed with Doug. Gave a brief update, but there was a miscalculation in the number of extensions needed. The lowest bidder was still the lowest bidder after the calculated adjustment, and that bidder has agreed to meet the price per extension amount. So the net cost increase is $36,900 for this bid. So we're recommending moving forward, and it still keeps this lowest bidder as the lowest bidder across all the bids. High school upper field athletic shed. So there's currently some research going on around a metal shed that would house electric for the fields, track mats, lacrosse, and field hockey supplies and equipment. The estimate for the pad, which would be an 8-inch thick reinforced with rebar, would be $53,500. And the project would be overseen by our Director of Buildings and Grounds, Anthony Miranda, and the money would come out of 2018-2019 excess extraordinary aid. I know that there's always storage issues all over our facilities, track equipment, things like that. So we feel this would be a worthwhile investment for storage as well. The next item, Pumptonian food service provider. So, Pumptonian has provided us with their contract renewal for the next year with a price increase, which is below 2%. We are permitted to rebid at any time, but must rebid after 5 years. So we can rebid any time, but must rebid after the 5-year time frame. Additionally, there's some conversation around COVID-19 emergency procurement and contract modifications. So they're requesting a management fee of $315 per day for the period that we do not have students in the school for lunch. That's a half of their normal management fee that we would pay. So we felt that was appropriate because they do have, they are providing a service still for their staff and expenses that are normally covered through the management fee. The next handful are requests for approvals for a food service equipment bid award for block scheduling. The lowest bid was $92,260.90. The next item was the annual maintenance for our school lockdown system in the amount of $20,443. Item 8 is approval for our annual safety grant through NJ SIG in the amount of $19,717, spot 43, and those funds will be used for sidewalk repair in the district. 9 has come up as far as the high school boilers. There's, I guess, 3 high school boilers. One of them is in need of major repair to the extent that it wouldn't probably pass the inspection this year. We've received the proposal to replace it under the Ed Data Co-op in the amount of $220,720. So that money would come out of 1819 XX Extraordinary Aid. Number 10 is the subscription busing program. So there's no increase for that program. Approval for a claim inventory to perform the annual inventory of district assets at a cost of $2,700. And the last item is the field lighting project. So progress, we've continued to progress. We've been communicating throughout all stages of the process. We are working on a communication to the impacted neighbors since our last meeting in March was canceled due to the COVID-19 situation. In that next communication, we're also hopeful to share some drafts of the policies which cover the field lighting, PA system, and good neighbor policies as well. So of the 12 items, there is, I believe, 9 items we're recommending that we approve as they've been proposed. And that concludes the combined facility and finance report.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Murray? Don't see anyone. Well, thank you, Mr. Murray. It's very, very nice report.
Welcome.
Are there any other committee reports to be read? Okay, seeing no one, then I'll move on to the letters to the board. One LET, email dated April 3rd, 2020, received from Ms. Rebecca Green regarding spring break. 2 LET, email dated April 13th, 2020, to the board from Norma P. Jules, offering to share a policy with the board. 3 LET, an email to the board dated April 3rd, 2020, from Vivian Friedman regarding the YMCA aftercare at McGinn, and Dr. Mast is in communication with the YMCA program and the parent to discuss. 4 LET, the email to the board dated April 14th, 2020, from Deidre Rubin, notifying the district that her child will be homeschooled. Mrs. Rabimbus is in contact with the parent. A 5 LET email to the board dated April 15th, 2020, from Holly Howell regarding study hall versus band versus electives at Scotch Plains Fanwood High School. 6 LET, an email to the board dated April 14th, 2020, from Olga Franco of the Department of Children and Families requesting contact information for SPF staff, and Mrs. Saradaki and Mr. Pachuco are handling this request. And that concludes all the letters to the board at this time. Next, we have the superintendent's report. Dr. Mast?
Joan, are you muted?
Hear you.
I was giving you practice at lip reading.
There you go.
All right. So 1S, I asked the board to move the superintendent's decision in the 4 harassment, intimidation, and bullying cases reported in executive session on March 26th. Of the 4 cases, 1 was determined to be HIB. I'll group these. For 2S, we have an out-of-district placement. I'm asking the board to approve the out-of-district placement for case 9-2, where the placement is at Rutgers Day School. And there's an additional out-of-district placement for case 16-21. I'm asking the board to approve this placement to the Laurel School of Princeton. And 3S, I'm asking the board to approve the district flex learning plan that we put in place to move from in-school learning to at-home learning.
Is there a motion?
So
moved.
moved.
It's Deb.
Second, Winkler.
Thank you. Any questions or discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstaining? Motion carries. Personnel agenda.
And personnel. I would ask that the board approves the superintendent's recommendation for the personnel on the personnel report that we discussed this evening in the exec.
So moved.
Second, Evan.
Okay. Is there any question or discussion? Okay, Mrs. Saradaki, will you please call the roll?
Are you muted?
Mrs. Goroff?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mrs. Bauer?
Yes.
Mrs. Brody?
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mrs. Suriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams? Yes. Mr. Murray, I got you. Dr. Kulikowski.
Yes.
You missed me.
Mrs. Winkler.
Yes.
sorry.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, that concludes the personnel and the superintendent's report. Thank you, Dr. Mast. And then that will bring us on to the business functions. Mrs. Sarajaki, please.
Yes, the first item is I'm asking the board to approve the staff training report dated April 23rd, 2020. I'll be asking the board to approve related services vendors, and that's the first one is for home instruction from Learn Well Services in the amount of $7,000, and the second one is from A&J Pediatric in the amount of $7,500. 3 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to approve the change order for the park masonry restoration. And what this involves is they are giving us a credit on materials in the amount of, I don't have the document here, but it's approximately $82,000. And so they'll discount the $100,000 down to that amount, that credit amount. And so the net change order to add the first floor lintels on Park Middle School will be $0.
Deb, 17,330 with a total of 82,670.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, yes, so the net change order will be $0 and the all the lentils in the schools will be taken care of. For BUS, I'm asking for the adjustment on the change order on the Brunner Gymnasium settlement repair. And you can see here that originally they had put into the bid document 25 units. And the company who won the bid, H&S Construction, had bid $750 per unit for those 25 units. After a conversation, he was willing to reduce the price to $350 per unit, and that's for potentially 159 units. And so we're asking the board for the change order in the amount of $36,900 as an estimated bid for this project. 5 BUS, I'm asking for board approval. The high school auto shop keeps coming back and haunting us. We thought it was all taken care of, and then I received a notice from the state that it was not. Current Environmental came in and did some more borings, and there were 3 choices that they provided us with. One was to do even more borings, but then they thought they would still have to remediate the soil or put a deed restriction on the soil. A deed restriction would require us to do reporting every couple of years and possibly do more borings. I felt the best option at this point was their third option, which was to remediate the problem, to have them come in and remove the soil. And their estimated cost for that is $6,229. They'll come in, they'll remove the portion of the auto shop floor where this leakage occurred under the auto shop, and they'll remove all the contaminated soil and have it taken care of. Our people can put back the concrete floor that they have to remove. 6 BUS is concrete proposal from Cefeli & Son under the Ed Data bid, and that's for the concrete slab required to put the storage shed on. Actually, the concrete slab, I think, costs more than the storage shed. So, but that is $53,500. 7 BUS is the proposal for the boiler at the high school. The boiler has rusted through, and the cost of repairing it would be considerable. The cost of it really needs to be replaced. So I'm recommending that the board approve the proposal for $220,720 to replace this boiler. It's one of 3 boilers. The other 2 are holding on. These are enormous boilers. If you ever want the chance to see them, let me know and we can go on a trip down into the boiler room of the high school. 8BUS is Pomptonian's emergency procurement and contract modification. Their contract their management fee is based on number of meals sold, dollars of meals sold. And with this period right now, they're earning nothing, but yet they are still providing the services. They're tracking the number of meals that we're giving out to free and reduced students. They're doing the procurement for that. And they have to keep their whole office staff in to take care of all the record keeping. And so they're asking for 50% of their management fee, their average daily management fee. 9BUS is the Food Service Equipment Bid Award. And you'll see here we had 5 responses, the lowest being BFA Food Services. So we would like to move forward with those purchases in order to get the equipment in time with hopefully school opening next fall. And this is all for the high school, and it's to accommodate the block lunch. 10BUS is the safety grant submission. Every year from New Jersey SIG, we're given a certain amount of dollars as a safety grant. This has been increasing for the past 4 years when we've been part of New Jersey SIG. It started at around 12,000. Now it's up to 19,000. And since we always have some broken sidewalks and other walkway areas to need to be repaired, it's an easy way to submit the grant. And so I'm asking the board to approve submission of the safety grant. And that's, I believe, all the items I have for approval tonight.
We have a
So
motion.
moved. Winkler.
Winkler, thank you.
Second, Brody.
Thank you, Ms. Brody. Any questions or discussions about the items Mrs. Saradaki presented? Okay, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries.
Okay, I'll continue on with the other items. I believe that's 12 BUS. No, 11 BUS. This is the athletic bid through Ed Data. This is for athletic supplies for our sports programs. And this is a bid we put in every year through Ed Data. And this is to award for, this accounts for almost all of the supplies they need during the year. 12 BUS is, I'll be asking for approval of the lens system maintenance agreement. That's the lockdown emergency notification system that we've had installed in all of our buildings. And it's for the year 2021 for $20,443. 13 BUS will be the high school field lighting bid award. 14 BUS is an agreement to cooperate with, I believe is Essex County under the McKinney-Ventnor Education of Homeless Children and Youth Program. And this, we provide them with information and consolidate the information so that we can work together on using Title I funds for homeless students in our district. 15 BUS is the approval for the Pomptonian for 2020-21. And the management fee of $0.0529 for each dollar of sales is just under a 2% increase. It's about 1.9 something. And they are still guaranteeing a minimum profit of $50,000. And this is even with the increased minimum wage. 16 BUS is the Pomptonian lunch price list, which I believe you received details on. And this will be the price list for 2020, 2021. 2020, yes, 21. 17 BUS is the renewal of the NJSIAA membership for 2021. 18 BUS is utilizing the services of First Children for 2021 and their rates. 19 BUS is continuation of the subscription busing program with no increase in cost for 2020-21. 20 BUS, once the budget is approved, will be the monthly tax payments by municipality. 21 BUS is the vendor to perform the asset inventory at a cost of $2,700. This is used by your auditor annually. 22 BUS will be the board's acknowledgement of the receipt of the board secretary report, treasurer's report, and budget adjustments. 23 BUS is the acknowledgement of various disbursement listings from other accounts other than our operating account. And 24 BUS is the bill list. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Saradaki.
You're welcome.
Okay, are there any board policies today, Mrs. Winkler?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you. Any new board business? Does anybody have any new board business? Seeing none. Moving on to other board business. Liaison reports. Does anybody have a report from any of the committees listed here? The Affordable Housing, Garden State Coalition, Municipal Alliance Committee, New Jersey School Board, PTA Council, Scotch Plains Fanwood Shared Services, Truth Racial Healing and Transformation, Union County Ed Services Commission, or the Union County School Board Association. Does anybody have a liaison report?
The Truth, Racial Healing and Transformation Committee did have a virtual meeting. However, we were supposed to have a program on community policing, and since that couldn't happen, we really were just checking in with each other on how our respective groups, the Board of Ed, the mayor of Scotch Plains, there were different groups represented, how our different groups were coping with the pandemic, and just information sharing more than anything.
Well, that was nice to check in with each other.
We have another meeting scheduled in May.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Ms. Oriani. Then we'll move on to requests to attend workshops and workshop reports to OBB. Anybody looking to go to a workshop, virtual or otherwise?
There is a Union County School Board's workshop next week. I think it's next week that I signed up for.
I did as well, Nancy. Yes, this is Amy Boroff.
What's the topic for that?
I think it's
now.
the current events.
Okay. I'll have to look back because I had gotten something from Union County, but that I tried to log in and I couldn't log in. So I'll check back. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't need to request permission for that one.
It's
It's
free,
free for
right.
all members.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is that one of the webinars they're advertising?
Yes. Ms.
Yes.
Soriani, is that you? Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the webinars. They're advertising multiple webinars, right?
Well, that's from the state. This is a Union County.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm sorry.
And that's on Wednesday, right, Nancy?
Yeah.
Thank you.
29th, yes, at 7 p.m.
Thank you. I'm going to look into that for myself as well. Okay, 3OBB is Staff Appreciation Week in 2020. We'll be discussing that next meeting. And 4OBB, At our next meeting, we'll be discussing the retiree resolutions. And next meeting, we will also approve the minutes from the March 12th, 2020 open agenda, executive and public meeting, and the March 26th regular board meeting, executive session, and the open public meeting. And this brings us to our second public comment portion of the meeting. And if you would like to make a public comment, please call 908-913-0709. In accordance with the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education Public Schools bylaws 0164 and 0165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments, maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing the superintendent items, business functions, and other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. If you'd like to make a public comment, please call 908-913-0709. While we wait for someone to call in, I'll just mention the upcoming meetings. Our next meeting is April 30th, next Thursday. That's a regular public meeting, online and live streamed again. And then in May, on May 12th, we're planning, that's a Tuesday, for our open agenda meeting to also be live and on stream that day as well. And hopefully we'll be back May 27th for the retiree and staff recognition at 3:30 p.m. at the Evergreen School. And same thing for after that. Hopefully we'll be back for public meetings in person. But next week, live on stream. Robin, have we had any phone calls yet?
Hi, Dr. Kulikowski. There are no calls at this time.
I think we left adequate time for someone to call in if they were calling in. So I'm going to move along in the agenda. Does anybody have any remarks for the good of the order?
I do. Oh, go ahead, Stephanie. You can go first.
Deb, you can go.
Okay. All right. I'm part of the MAC committee, and I got information today regarding a presentation from a group called Here to Help. They're a mental health coalition, and they're doing a presentation on college readiness during COVID-19, academic and mental health, what parents need to know. It is on Thursday, April 30th from 7:30 to 8:30 during an online Zoom meeting. The website's pretty long, but it's https://h2hlibray mentalhealthforum.eventbrite.com if you're interested. Their website is heretohelpnewjersey.org. And that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Brody. Ms. Soriani, you had something?
Yes, I just want to give a shout out and praise to and recognition to just all of the teachers and administrators right now. They are doing a fantastic job. I have, two children, one at the elementary and one at the middle school level. And I am just so pleased and just did not expect just how engaged the teachers are still staying with the students at this time, offering themselves up for daily meetings, spending 30 minutes with kids, in kind of a show and tell platform. It's just really, it just has exceeded my expectations. I just think they're being called upon to do something that, in a way that they have never done. And while balancing their own family lives. And I just want to say thank you. They're really just showing their tremendous strength and perseverance and during this time. So thanks to all the teachers and administrators.
Yeah, I second that.
I would like on that if I can and say,
Sure, Nancy, go right ahead.
to recognize absolutely the teachers and administrators, and not only the front-facing people, but I think the report we received and the in-depth preparations that were required by every staff member in the district that in preparation on a dime and continuing now. I think we certainly all recognize the many heroes in this situation, but I think educators and school districts fall in that as well.
Yeah, second that. And I also love seeing all the rainbows around town on the sidewalks and people's front windows. You can see people have taped children's drawings up in their front window or on their front door, in addition to all the rainbow colored ribbons that are all around town. The mayor in Scotch Plains had a town hall around 4:00 this afternoon, and he's got a big ribbon right on the front of his desk there. He and Mrs. Heisey and two other members, which were well spaced out in that huge room, gave a little rundown of everything in the town. But it's nice to see that rainbow theme being carried everywhere. And I also would like to thank Robin Broadbent for posting that video that was collected of everybody across the district, the We Are One video, if anybody took a chance to see that. And Deb Brody, you had forwarded a link to the Coles students. I believe they had their school video just showing all the engagement that's going on and that people are still here and people are together and they're working independently, but yet together. So that was really nice to see. Does anybody have anything else for the good of the order? Okay, if not, then I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Williams.
Williams and Evans. I'm sure there's no discussion about this. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed and no one's going to say no. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Stay safe.
Good evening. Welcome to the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education regular public meeting, March 26, 2020. This is held online and streaming. At this time, I'm going to ask Mrs. Saradaki to please call the roll.
Mrs. Bauer? Mrs.
Here.
Mrs. Boroff?
Here.
Mrs. Brody?
Here.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Here.
Mrs. Suriani?
Here.
Mrs. Williams?
Here.
Mrs. Winkler?
Here.
Mr. Murray?
Here.
Dr. Kulikowski?
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you, Mrs. Saradaki. Will you please join me in the salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag
of the
of the
United
United States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for
for
which
which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and justice
for
for
all.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on the Board of Education offices located at 512 Cedar Street, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Such notice was also provided in written notice and forwarded to the Star Ledger, the Times, the Town Clerk of Scotch Plains, and the Borough of Clerk of Fanwood in the revised notice of regularly scheduled meetings adopted on August 29th, 2019. I would like to thank everyone that took the time and their patience and cooperation during this unique time. And I appreciate all the support from Dr. Mast, Mrs. Saradaki, as well as Robin Broadbent, Patrice Barth, and Judy Resnikoff for getting this meeting going, and also to Ray Moscow for hoping to set us up and get this meeting together for tonight. In accordance with the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education, Public Schools Bylaw 0164 and 0165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments, maximum 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items, business functions, and other board business will be heard first. And if time remains, speakers may address other matters. Public comments can be made by calling 908-232-6161, extension 4021, or you can email BOE@SPFK12.org.
Ms. Saradaki or Dr. Mass, do you know who's monitoring the email address for watching for incoming comments?
Yes, Robin Broadbent is on site with the email and by the phone.
Okay, thanks.
Robin, can you give us an indication if there's any phone or emails coming in?
Sure. This is Robin. Hi, everyone. Right now, there are no phone calls and there are no emails.
Okay. Well, there will be another portion of this meeting dedicated to public comment. So at this time, I'm going to move on to the committee reports. Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
Committee reports. Does anybody have a committee report?
I have a committee report.
Amy, go right ahead.
For shared services. Actually, is that more of a liaison report? Should I do that as one of the OBBs, whatever it is? It's not really a committee of the board.
We probably should move it on the agenda.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, that's more of a liaison report. Now that I've said it, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll wait and see you in a little bit then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then if there are any other committee reports. Seeing none, we'll move on to the letters from the board. One LET is a letter dated March 2nd, 2020 from Sophia Marcovecchio, a School 1 student, regarding the desire to have elementary level sport teams. 2 LET, an email dated March 24, 2020 from James Romagnato regarding the field and track closure. That brings us now to the superintendent's report. Dr. Mast. I can't hear you, Joan.
You're muted.
I could hear myself perfectly.
There you go.
So 1S we approved on March 12th for the field trips. 2S, I ask you to approve the harassment, intimidation, and bullying reports that we discussed in executive session on March 12th.
So moved.
Second. Any question or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
I wasn't there on March 12th. This is Nancy Northbauer.
Okay, so you're going to abstain then?
Yes.
Okay. So the motion carries.
Out of district placement, we discussed on March 12th and approved them, which brings us to the personnel agenda. I ask for the board to approve the recommendations that were included on the personnel report that we discussed in exec.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
No.
Mrs. Saradaki, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Mrs. Winkler,
Yes.
Mrs. Bauer,
Yes.
Mrs. Boroff,
Yes.
Mrs. Brody,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mrs. Suriani,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams,
Yes.
Dr. Kulikowski.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, thank you, Dr. Mast, and thank you, Mrs. Saradaki. In accordance with the Scotch Plains Fanwood Public Schools Bylaws 0164 and 0165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments, 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items and business functions and other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers will address other matters. Public comments can be made by calling 908-232-6161, extension 4021, or by emailing the BOE at spfk12.org. And Robin, I'm again going to ask you if there's any calls or emails for us at this time.
Dr. Kulikowski, at this time, there are no calls and no emails.
Okay. There's still one more chance for public comment coming up. Seeing no one, then we'll move on to the business functions. Mrs. Saradaki?
I will group these. On the business functions, 1 BUS through 5 BUS were all addressed at the March 12th meeting. 6 BUS is the Brunner Gymnasium settlement repair bid. We received 4 bids, and the lowest bid was $654,950, which was within the allowance that the budget that we had anticipated. So I'll be asking for approval of H&S Construction and Mechanical for that repair that we're going to do this summer. 7 BUS is the transportation contract renewals at 1.70%, which is the percent that the state set for renewals for 2020-21 school year. 8 BUS is transportation services contract for 2020-21 through Union County Ed Services. 9 BUS is the receipt, asking the board to acknowledge receipt of the district school security and fire drill reports for the month of February 2020. 10 BUS, I'm asking the board to acknowledge the receipt of the board secretary reports, treasurer of school fund reports, and budget adjustments for the month ending February 29th, 2020. 11 BUS, I'm asking the board to acknowledge receipt of the disbursement reports for various bank accounts for the month of February 2020. 12 BUS, I'm asking the board to approve the bills for the period February 22nd through March 20th, 2020 in the amount of $4,975,425.17. 13 BUS, I'm asking the board to approve the agreement to utilize the services of the Ed Services Commission of New Jersey for the period July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2025. There is no fee associated with that. 14 BUS through 19 BUS were all addressed at the March 12th meeting. 20 BUS is a special education settlement agreement for LR. Movement from Shortridge Academy to White Mountain School, and the district's contribution will be capped at $70,000 per year. 21 BUS, I'm asking the board to approve the proposal from Hertz Furniture for 51 booth cafeteria tables for the high school in the amount of $49,530. And this will come from the cafeteria account. And that's on an Ed Services Commission of New Jersey bid. That's the pricing. 22 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to approve participation in the cooperative purchasing of competitive communications. It's for internet service. And it's the New Jersey Durlap bid, NJDRLAP bid that Educational Services Commission of New Jersey put out. And the cost, we are going from 1 gigabyte of service to 5 gigabytes of service. We were paying $3,317 a month. We will be paying $3,450 a month. So the prices on these services have dropped considerably. And that's all I have for this evening.
Can I have a motion for Mrs. Saradaki's business?
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Any question or discussion about any of those items?
I just wondered, Mrs. Saradaki, have we used H&S Construction and Mechanical? I think we have before.
We have not. This is new to us, but they're working on several large jobs, and they have, from what I understand, our architect checked references and they are good. So,
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay, we had a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Saradaki. Okay, now we have some other board business liaison reports, OBB 1.
All right. Can I go?
Yes,
I have
Ms.
shared
Blank.
services report.
Okay.
All right. So shared services met by telephone. We started on March 18th, but the call was not, we all got kicked off of this conference call at some point. So it was very brief and we didn't discuss much, but we picked up again the following day. Basically, it was more of a check-in, being sure that we're working cooperatively, both municipalities with the school district, particularly now with the pandemic. So as you are already aware, we are working closely, all three entities, to be sure that we're supporting each other at this time and that in various ways. I guess that's probably the best I can. There were no other real, there were little, we were just updating each other on different, different things that we were doing, but mostly it was just sort of I think it was Jersey Professional Management checking in mostly to make sure that we were all on the same page with each other, and we are. So that's pretty much it. And we scheduled our next meeting will be on April 15th, and it will also be a phone meeting. So that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Winkler. Any other liaison reports?
I wanted to just make sure that everyone is receiving the Garden State Coalition of Schools updates. The meeting, March meeting was canceled. I think that they've been sending out a lot of information about the bills, like the one that Doug referred to, related to getting the payments from the municipalities. But I think one in particular, it's important just to highlight, not a bill, but the fact that the state's not getting a lot of revenue. And so that could mean that the amount of money that the governor intended to give to schools could change. So just putting that on people's radar.
Thank you, Mrs. Bauer. Any other liaison reports? Request to attend workshops. Workshop reports.
Karen, I think some of our members did attend a Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation meeting.
I did, yes.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
You're frozen. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
You're moving a lot. The whole screen looks like it's moving.
Oh, I'm not. Can you
There
see
you
me,
go.
hear me?
Now I do, yeah.
Okay. We did have a Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation meeting last week, but it was more of an informal check-in, and it was we had Sharon Stroh, who is the facilitator of the grant through Rutgers, led a dialogue circle, and it was mostly related to everyone's coping with the COVID-19 pandemic. So it was really just about group cohesion. So it was more of just an informal meeting and discussion. And future meetings will focus on community policing and a performance based on a performance that will generate a discussion about race and issues about race. So that was our meeting last Thursday.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Soriani.
Sure.
Any other workshop reports? Okay, 2 OBB was talked about on March 12th, the administrator's contract. 3 OBB, National Autism Awareness Month is April. And can I have a motion to the Board of Education to adopt the resolution making April National Autism Awareness Month?
So moved.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Thank you. Any question or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. 4 OBB, approval of the 2020-2021 schedule of the board meeting dates. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Thank you. Any question or discussion? The list is on the page 11 of our agenda. Seeing no questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. 5 OBB, Savaccia LLP agreement. Can I have a motion so that the Board of Education approves the agreement with Nisavacia LLP to provide auditing services for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020 at a cost of $53,200, which is a 2% increase. If information is delayed from the New Jersey Division of Pensions, there will be an additional cost of $2,500. This contract is awarded without competitive bidding as a professional service under the provisions of public school contracts law.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any question or discussion?
I have questions.
Sure, go
So I don't know that I'm comfortable that there's an additional cost of $2,500 if there's a delay by the New Jersey Division of Pensions. I can probably assure that there probably will be, because everything in the government is not being, in the state government is being delayed at this point from what everything I'm hearing. So I just don't know if that's a fair thing, if we have to do this now or if we can delay this, but I'm not personally comfortable with the additional cost because it's out of our control, especially with everything going on and where the attention's being focused. I don't know if that's just a standard, cost that they throw in there, but maybe I just need more information.
It has been a standard cost for the past 2 years since the state, and 1 year the board actually approved that separately, and we can certainly approve the amount without the 2,500. We can take that part out and then approve the 2,500 at a later point. But the state has been late with the required information for the audits. Their actuaries have not been providing the information to them on time. And it's not our information, really. It's the breakdown of the health benefits and the teacher's pension that they're allocating to the districts, which is something they didn't used to do.
I just personally think we should expect that it is good. Everything's going to be late this year, but that's my own personal opinion.
But I think it's unrelated to the pandemic, right? And as I recall, when they made the report this past year, they were saying they had one deadline to present the report, and then they had to go back when this information came in, and then update and change things after they'd been required to present it.
And that's what they're referring to, because that's happened now for 2 years, where they've charged us the extra $2,500 for going back and making changes to our audit to accommodate the extra information from the state.
So then at this point, we have a motion, we had a second, we had a question. With the motion as written, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you for your explanation, Mrs. Saradaki.
Thank you.
Next, we have approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes listed for February 20th, open agenda meeting, executive session, February 20th, open agenda meeting, February 27th, regular board meeting, executive session, and February 27th, regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second was who?
Amy. Both Amy's.
Ms. Borough. Any questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
I have to abstain from the 20th executive and public session. It's Evan, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Motion carries. And now for the third and final time, in accordance with the Scotch Plains Fanwood Public Schools Bylaw 0164-0165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments, 3 minutes maximum per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items, business functions, and other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. Public comments can be made by calling 908-232-6161, extension 4021, or by emailing boe@spfk12.org. Robin, do we have anybody at this public comment time?
No, Dr. Kulikowski, there are no calls and no emails.
Okay. Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
Okay. We have 2 upcoming meetings scheduled for Thursday, April 23rd, open agenda meeting, and Thursday, April 30th, regular public meeting, also at 7:30. Are there any remarks for the good of the order?
I'd like to say something for the good of the order.
Go right ahead, Mrs. Winkler.
I want to thank our superintendent and our staff, our teachers, our administrators, our supervisors, our principals, everybody, even our custodial staff, our entire staff. Everyone has been pitching in and working really hard to deal with this pandemic, whether it's that they're cleaning the schools or delivering meals or creating lesson plans, sort of adapting what they had intended to do with their classes. A lot of our teaching staff also are parents at home with their own kids, trying to deal with homeschooling their own children at the same time as they're working to school our children. And I know it's been a huge effort, and I just want to thank everyone who was involved in, our whole staff really is making, all right, I'm not making a full sentence anymore, I'm sorry. But thank you. That's my point.
Thank you, Mrs. Winkler. Any other remarks for the good of the order?
I'd like to piggyback on what Amy just said and to say that aside from all of the learning opportunities that have been sent home, I just appreciate all the spirit and the adaptability of our teachers and administrators. I know both of the schools that my kids go to are still having like spirit weeks and requesting photos and posting photos and still trying to really facilitate that feeling of community in the schools that we're all feeling like we're missing right now. So I know I go on with my son and look at the website and see all the kids learning at home, and it just helps to, have the kids feel less isolated right now. So again, they're not only are they facilitating the learning in a creative way right now, but just continuing, the community, the feeling of community that we try to foster in the schools. And I just think it's been done in a really creative way, despite what's happening. So I just want to applaud them for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mrs. Soriani. That is just wonderful and very thoughtful. And yes, everyone's been doing a yeoman's job of keeping everything going. And this is unfortunate that we're not here, but I know some projects and maintenance are getting done at the schools, which wouldn't have been able to be done had the children been at school. So they're moving ahead with those jobs that we really needed done in the first place.
I would just like to add to what they said and point out that many of the teachers and administrators who are doing this work are doing it with their own children at home at the same time. So, that deserves extra appreciation.
Definitely.
If I could just thank you for those comments and recognizing just what really has happened, where we have transformed our brick and mortar schools to this virtual school really on a notice of 2 days. The teachers came together, the administrators put together incredible structures for people to work as a team and for it to be cohesive across the district. When we first did it, we thought it would be done in 2 weeks. And then we recognized that this could go on indefinitely. So we needed to change gears. And rather than kind of celebrating the learning that had happened, we need to continue to move learning forward. And many of our teachers have operated in Google Classrooms and using many of these virtual tools, but many of our teachers, haven't had the need to do that. And at this point, we have these virtual professional development academies run by teachers themselves. We have supervisors and administrators modeling how to create these videos so kids are feeling very connected to their teacher. We are transforming the office hours so teachers can connect with their kids and it's real time. And as we are very much focused on the learning, we're also very aware that we want to make sure that all kids have the support that they need, because this isn't an easy time. We know that kids are excited to come to school to learn, but we also know they're very excited to come to school to be with their friends. So it's something that we just want to make sure that we're paying attention to the well-being of everyone. And it has been incredible to see that the depth of caring of our teachers, our supervisors, our principals. Regina Botsford gets a special shout out on how she's really been supporting all of the administrators as they've been working with the teachers to put coherent and solid lesson plans in place. It's really not only a reflection of hard work and expertise, but it's been miraculous. It really has. So again, thank you for those comments.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mast. I bet the children all can't wait to get back to school, and you never thought that would happen, right?
That's very true.
All right. Are there any other comments for the good of the order? Seeing none, then can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Stay safe, everyone. Motion carries.
Sharon.
Have a good day.